You wouldn't have gone on holiday to Nazi Germany, would you? You wouldn't have gone and spent your hard-earned money in a state that was actively committing a genocide, would you? You wouldn't have knowingly gone and spent your money and therefore supported an economy of a state that was knowingly committing human rights monstrosities, would you? So why the fuck are we still going to America on vacation? How many countries has the US bombed in the last 12 months? Yemen, Somalia, Iran, Iraq, Syria. They've obviously massively funded the genocide in Palestine. They've kidnapped the Venezuelan president. Oh, they're kidnapping their own people on the streets and shooting people in the face if they dare to try and stop them. You want to go there? You want to choose to go there? I can only assume that if you've managed to get a visa to go to the United States of embarrassment, you likely have the opportunity to go to many other places. Explain it to me like I'm 5. There's one thing, it's difficult to avoid supporting America in some sense because so much is owned by them, so many companies are owned by them, and I'm trying not to be too judgmental, but if you're actively choosing to get on a plane, pay your visa fees, and go spend money in that hellhole, can you explain it to me? Because I don't understand.
The USA boycott by the rest of the world, the other 7.7 billion people. The United States is only 350 million. They're all boycotting the United States of America. They're boycotting coming here in tourism. We're set to lose 70 billion just in 2025. They're boycotting our products, and they are saying these horrible things about the USA because they're true. We have bombed 7 countries in less than 1 year. We actually attacked a country and kidnapped their president. Now multiply that by another 3. Not only will we have a recession, we will have a depression, and we will not recover from our relationships with the rest of the world, which we need because we are a global economy.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode. Now, the United States is losing it in its tourism sector, and this is because countries all over the world are now boycotting visiting the United States. And they are doing that because they are aware of the situation of what is happening in the United States. Right? Some of them are in the fear that they are going to be harassed by ICE agents. The situation is so crazy to a point that people are even cancelling their World Cup tickets. And what makes the situation even more crazy is because some of the American citizens are now supporting the boycott. They are now calling other countries to boycott visiting the United States. And they are doing so because they hope that this maybe is going to rescue their leadership. Right? And remember, Canada started it all, and for the past 1 year that Canada boycotted visiting the United States made a loss of $5.7 billion US, which is very, very crazy. So I can just imagine if that is Canada alone. I remember the world has around a population of around 7.7 billion people. So if Canada alone made US to lose around $5.7 billion US, what about the other countries now which are boycotting visiting the United States? Because the United States itself has a population of around 350 million. That's very crazy. Anyway guys, let's get into the rest of the video, and I'll be right back at the end with my thoughts in regards to this.
To all the countries around the world that supply America with their goods, you know, from their clothing to their food, to their vehicles, to their electronics, how about we boycott America for a few weeks? Stop sending stuff over there. You know, they have no production over there in America, so let's just see if we can teach them a lesson. Just a thought.
I'm sorry, but USA, you can no longer provide a safe environment for world athletes and international visitors. The World Cup and Olympics should be relocated.
People don't hate us because they ain't us. They hate us because we go around the world dropping bombs on them and acting like a bully. Because if you're actually worried about U.S. national security, you should be a lot less worried about Greenland and immigrants and a lot more worried about how Trump's words and actions are causing people all around the world to radicalize against Americans. And with good reason. When the President of the United States is openly discussing invading and stealing a foreign country, not because they committed an act of war against us or because we have any territorial claim to that land, but because he wants it. When they go in and kidnap a foreign leader, no matter how hated, and when he makes no secret of the fact that his interest in those countries is to plunder their natural resources, why would anyone like us? And I'm not even talking about governments here. I'm talking about individuals and individuals that form groups, especially when they see that their governments and institutions aren't doing enough to condemn and stop the United States of America. There are Americans who get this and Americans who don't. And to the ones who don't, you need to wake the F up and realize he's the one causing anti-American sentiment to go through the roof.
If you're a non-American and you're pissed about what Trump's doing right now, can I just give you permission as an American to boycott the shit out of us? The US is currently a danger to herself and to others. They don't care about international law or human rights. The only thing that currently speaks in the US is money. We haven't been a full democracy in years, even before Trump. We're basically an oligarchy. So boycott on your own, join a Facebook group. I'll try to find some groups and link them below. If you hate what is happening, hit us where it hurts, and that is in the wallet.
The world desperately needs to boycott us as Americans for our own good. Because I'm learning about this bird flu thing and I'm just having a hard time grasping it at all. And I'm just realizing over the next few years, everything that's crumbling about American society, because we have such a deep hold around the globe, it's gonna affect everyone and everything. And so we really should be isolated. Like, you should avoid us like the plague that we are and boycott us internationally. Like, it's beyond time for America to be under sanctions. Like, we are not good, right? And I don't mean us as individuals. I think global people are realizing American citizens is a different story than the American government. But for our own good, we need to be kept contained, if you will. Because what do you mean we have a bird flu? And the healthcare systems are failing us. The infrastructure is not giving us information as it should. I don't know how to mitigate this. I work in public health and I have no idea about this. And so that's how deeply flawed and failing of a system we have.
I only assume that if you've managed to get a visa to go to the United States of embarrassing...
I'm an American, and I approve this message. It's best to stay home.
So our friends in Canada are continuing their boycott of the United States. And this article per CBC News says U.S. tourism faces $5.7 billion loss as Canadians continue to stay home. And the article reads, many Canadians continue to boycott travel to the United States, and the U.S. economy is paying the price. A U.S. Travel Association report forecasts a 3.2% decline in international tourism spending in the country for 2025, a loss of $5.7 billion US compared to the previous year. The association largely attributes the loss to a decline in the number of Canadian visitors, a trend that has persisted since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to office in January, sparked a trade war with Canada, and began referring to the country as the 51st state. Also, I would like to add the fact that I think a lot of Canadians would fear for their lives if they were to enter the United States, with the fear of being picked up by immigration. In the latest data for October, the number of return trips among Canadians traveling to the U.S. dropped by 24% for air travel and 30% for land travel, compared with the same time last year. That marks 10 straight months. And we're seeing a lot of tourism decline in such places as Vegas, Florida, and the boycotting of US-made goods such as whiskey. And I honestly do not blame the Canadians at all. You guys are standing firm on your decision, and I completely support it.
Welcome back, and let me know what you think about this episode. Now, the United States is losing it in its tourism sector, and this because countries are now boycotting visiting the United States, and this because they are now aware of what is happening in the United States. Some of them are in the fear that they are going to be harassed by the ICE agents, right? And it's very crazy to a point that people are even canceling their World Cup tickets, right? And what makes the situation even worse is that some of the American citizens now support their boycott. They are calling for other countries to boycott visiting the United States because they feel that that is going to rescue them from their bad leadership. It's very crazy because you can imagine that for the past 1 year that Canada boycotted visiting the United States made a loss of 5.7 billion. Now you can imagine, what about the other countries that are now boycotting visiting the United States? What loss is United States going to make? It's just crazy. Anyway guys, it is what it is. Let me know what you think about this episode down in the comment section, and as usual, stay safe, stay blessed. We'll catch up in the next.